Rain hammered the asphalt outside the city garage. Raven Carter's heartbeat drummed against her ribs. Steam hissed from the Ferrari's open hood. She stared at the glinting red paint. Her trembling fingers hovered over the ignition. Sirens wailed in the distance. Thunder cracked overhead like a gunshot. She needed the car gone now. Cold sweat soaked her leather jacket. A flash of headlights skidded across the wet street. Footsteps echoed off concrete walls. She glanced back at the narrow alley. A shadow moved behind the chain-link fence. Her pulse spiked. Memories of last night blurred in her mind. The auction papers, his furious shout, then her panic. She'd only meant to borrow it for one night to escape her debts. Now the engine roared beneath her. The car would not start. A footfall. Closer. Her breath hitched. She pressed her back against the Ferrari's door. Eyes wide, she searched for an exit. A dark figure rounded the corner. Tall, broad-shouldered. His silhouette cut a striking frame in the rain. Lightning illuminated his ice-blue eyes. He carried a slim briefcase. Her case, she realized with a jolt. Her throat tightened. He stopped 2 paces away. Rain streamed off his tailored coat. He studied her with cool calm. No mercy in his gaze. She swallowed hard. This was never supposed to happen. He raised a gloved hand, tapping the briefcase. "You took what was mine," he said, his voice even, but edged with steel. She felt panic. Swelling, a flash of lightning revealed the car's gleaming emblem. She gripped the steering wheel. He stepped closer. "Now you'll pay," he whispered. A distant crack of thunder split the night. She squeezed her eyes shut. Her escape lay just beyond that door. But he blocked her only path. The rain fell harder. Her world narrowed to his icy stare. And the key in her hand. **** Raven Carter lived in a cramped studio above Joe's Diner. She waited tables every evening for $20 a shift. Her faded blue jeans and worn boots told her story. She stared at peeling paint on the apartment walls. Morning sunlight filtered through a cracked window. Raven brewed instant coffee in a chipped mug. She hummed an old pop song under her breath. Her phone buzzed with a reminder, rent due tomorrow. Her chest tightened at the thought. She pinched a photograph taped above her desk. It showed her younger sister, Lily, smiling bright. Lily's laugh echoed in Raven's memory. She tucked the photo into her pocket. Her shifts ended at midnight most nights. She biked home under flickering street lamps. Her neighborhood buzzed with car alarms and distant laughter. She'd grown up to blocks from the Atlantic shore. Sand still clung to her childhood sneakers. Her mom left when she was 10. Her dad drank himself to sleep most nights. She learned to grow up fast. Raven joined community college in Brooklyn. She studied graphic design between shifts. Dreamed of moving to Silicon Valley someday. But debt collectors trailed her heels. They called. At dawn and dusk, she avoided their texts and calls. Her roommate, Marisol, covered her rent sometimes. Marisol worked day shifts at a tech startup. They shared late-night ramen and gossip. Raven admired Marisol's bright confidence. She envied her friend's white sneakers and calm. But Raven's secret plan weighed on her mind. Last night's auction papers lay on her desk. They promised temporary relief if only she could drive. Her stolen moment with the Ferrari loomed large. Her pulse quickened as she recalled his face. His icy blue eyes had bored into her soul. She shook her head, trying to think clearly. Debt threatened Lily's future too. Lily's college acceptance letter burned a hole in Raven's pocket. She vowed to fix everything no matter the cost. A soft knock came at her door. Her heart leapt. She glanced at the photograph of Lily. No more. Running, she thought. Outside, footsteps approached. Someone rattled the doorknob. A familiar voice called her name. Raven's hand hovered over the latch. "Who's there?" she whispered. The door creaked open a sliver. A shadow blocked the hallway light. Raven held her breath. Something isn't right. ***. Raven returned to her desk. Before dawn, she had the auction papers trembling in her hand. Her phone vibrated with an unknown number. She glanced at the screen. "Meet me at Pier 9. Midnight," it read. No name attached. Her heart sank. She checked the time. 11:15 p.m. She tucked the papers into her coat. Dread knotted in her stomach. She biked through deserted streets. Fog rolled off the East River. Salt breeze carried distant ship horns. Pier 9 loomed empty and silent. She spotted a lone figure under a lamp post. He held up her missing briefcase. Her breath caught. She stepped closer. "Who are you?" she asked, voice shaking. He lowered. A black hoodie. Familiar ice blue eyes glared at her. "Zane Mercer, the Ferrari owner." He pointed to the briefcase. "Give it back," he demanded. She handed it over. Papers fluttered inside. He opened it. Her heart pounded. Inside, she saw more than auction proofs, an envelope marked private. She froze. Zane extracted a folded letter. He unfolded it. His jaw tightened. "Explain this," he said. The letter bore her sister's name, Lily Carter. "Where did you get this?" he pressed. Raven's mind raced. She shook her head. "It fell in the car," she lied. Zane studied her face. Lightning flashed beyond the pier. He folded the letter slowly. "Not enough," he said. He tossed the envelope at her feet. Rain splashed her boots. She looked up. His figure towered in the gloom. "I want a date," he said low. "A real date," he added. Her jaw dropped. She swallowed. He stepped closer. "Or I call the cops." Silence stretched between them. Her pulse thundered. She stared at her sister's name. Unanswered questions burned. Zane's gaze never wavered. Can she trust him? Cold wind whipped around them. Raven clenched her fists. She forced a nod. Zane pocketed the papers. He turned away. "Midnight tomorrow," he said over his shoulder. She barely heard him. She barely understood. Raven stood alone on the slick dock. Thunder rumbled overhead. Danger just became personal. ***. Morning light filtered through grimy windows. Marcus led Raven to a derelict warehouse. Dust motes danced in sunbeams. A makeshift gym awaited them. Heavy bags hung from rusted hooks. Concrete floor bore scuff marks. Raven's palms itched for gloves. Marcus handed her a pair. She laced them tight. "Defense first," he said. He demonstrated a straight jab. Short, precise. Raven mirrored his movements. Her gloves connected with leather. Thud. Her heart clicked into focus. Marcus nodded approvingly. "Now footwork." He drew chalk lines on the floor. Raven hopped. Between them, left pivot, right step. Her breath came in controlled bursts. She tripped once. Marcus offered a steady hand. "Learn from it," he advised. Later, they moved to the shooting range. Clink of targets dropped echoed. Raven held a pistol gingerly. Cold metal warmed under her grip. Marcus coached her stance, feet shoulder width apart, elbows tucked in. She aimed at a distant silhouette. Bang! The bullet punched the wall. Her eyes widened. She shook slightly. Again, Marcus encouraged. She steadied her breathing. Second shot hit dead center. A small smile broke across her face. She exhaled with relief. The exercise fueled her confidence. They paused for water. Raven gazed at Marcus. "Why help me?" she asked quietly. Marcus stared at the floor. "My sister, she was in danger too," he said. Her chest tightened. With empathy, she sipped slowly, thoughts racing. Marcus unfolded her backstory. He lost his sister to corrupt lenders. They destroyed her life. He vowed to fight injustice. Raven listened, tears pricking her eyes. Her own guilt melted into resolve. They spent the afternoon sparring. Gloves struck and blocked. Marcus corrected her form tirelessly. Raven's strength grew minute by minute. Each punch echoed her determination. When dusk fell, they moved outside. Marcus guided her through escape drills. "Hide behind dumpsters. Silence your breathing. Stay in shadows." He timed her runs with his watch. "Faster," he urged. Raven pounded the pavement under Manhattan. Streetlights. Her lungs burned pleasantly. She felt alive. By nightfall, she stood confident, muscles aching but spirit soaring. They returned to the warehouse. Marcus handed her a first aid kit. "Trustworthy allies share supplies," he said. Raven nodded. Tucking it into her jacket, she stared at her reflection in a dusty mirror. New determination glinted in her eyes. She could face Zane's goons. Yet a hollow ache remained. Her sister's photo burned in her pocket. She closed her eyes. This training wasn't just for her dot, it was for Lily's safety too. As they left, Raven paused at the door. She turned to Marcus. "Thank you," she whispered. He offered a small nod. She stepped into the night, her fists relaxed, ready. She felt stronger, but the enemy still waited. Raven arrived at the deserted subway station late. Neon lights flickered above empty tracks. Her pulse thundered against her ribs. She spotted Zane standing beneath the turnstile. He held a single lit cigarette. Smoke curled like ghostly fingers. "Here alone," he said softly. Raven stepped forward warily. "Why am I here?" she asked. Zane's gaze was unreadable. He flicked ash onto the platform. "Trust test," he replied. Her stomach knotted. He handed her an envelope. Inside, a photo of Marisol smiling at Joe's diner. Raven's heart sank. "Your roommate," Zane whispered. "She's connected." Raven's mind raced. "Connected to what?" she demanded. Zane exhaled smoke. "To your debts and Lily's." "Fire," she shook her head. "No." He produced a second photograph. It showed Marcus handing cash to a suited man, her ally. Her chest tightened. "This was last night." Raven stared at Marcus's face. Betrayal cut sharper than any blade. "He stole money from me," she whispered. Zane nodded gravely. "They arranged Lily's dorm sabotage." Raven's vision blurred. She dropped the photos on dirty tiles. A train rumbled far away. Her knees trembled. "How could he?" she breathed. Zane removed his coat. Underneath, a hidden holster. He handed it to Raven. "Proof or protection," he said. She held the gun with shaking fingers. Lightning flashed across the tracks. Raven swallowed hard. "You wanted me alone," she accused. He met her eyes. "I needed you safe," he admitted. Marcus planned to trade Lily for silence. Her world spun. Tears stung her eyes. She thought of Lily's smile, then the dorm's flickering fire. Anger and grief surged. She looked at Zane. "Why help me at all?" she demanded. He paused, voice raw. "Because I believe in justice." Her breath caught. "I hated that car," he confessed. "But I couldn't ignore your gamble." She studied his face. Regret softened his features. "This changes everything." She tucked the gun into her jacket. Zane extended his hand. "Will you stand with me?" Raven's fingers hovered. Her heart warred with her mind. Finally, she grasped his hand. Electric shock of alliance. They turned toward the tunnel. Footsteps echoed behind them. A familiar voice hissed, "Not so fast." Marcus's gun glinted under the tunnel lights. His breath came in ragged bursts. Raven froze beside Zane. Betrayal burned in her chest. "Marcus," she whispered, voice breaking. He gritted his teeth. "Your plan failed," he growled. Zane stepped forward, hands raised. "Stop this now," he commanded. Marcus spat on the tracks. "I did it for Lily," he snarled. Raven's heart stuttered. "How could you hurt her?" she demanded. Marcus's finger tightened on the trigger. Raven noticed the distant rumble. Behind them, a freight train thundered toward the station. Zane lunged, grabbing Marcus's arm. The gun skidded across the platform. It clattered near the edge. Raven dove for it. She snatched the weapon just as the train's horn screamed. Marcus stumbled back, fury in his eyes. Zane shoved him toward the shadows. "Get out of here," Zane yelled. Marcus hesitated, then retreated into darkness. Raven's legs trembled. The train's lights flooded the station. She aimed the gun at Zane. Her finger hovered on the trigger. Zane's blue eyes met hers. "Lower it," he said softly. Rain streaked in from the open tunnel. Raven's chest heaved. She struggled with her rage. Then she exhaled slowly. She dropped the gun at her feet. The train ground to a halt. Zane knelt beside her. He offered a hand. Raven took it, voice raw. "Let's end this," she whispered. They sprinted down a side corridor. Water dripped from rusted pipes. Their footsteps splashed in puddles. Behind them, Marcus's shouts echoed. They emerged onto a rooftop above. Manhattan. City lights spread below like fireflies. Marcus burst through the door. He raised his gun again. Zane pushed Raven behind him. "Don't come any closer," Marcus barked. Zane and Raven stood shoulder to shoulder. Thunder rolled across the skyline. Lightning split the sky. Raven's hand found Zane's. "Please," she begged Marcus. Tears shone on her cheeks. Marcus's gun wavered. "I'm sorry," he whispered. He lowered the weapon. In that moment, Police sirens wailed below. Blue and red lights danced on skyscrapers. Raven exhaled, relief flooding her. Zane pressed a finger to Marcus's chest. "Go," he said quietly. Marcus nodded once. He backed toward the rooftop edge. Raven watched him disappear into the night. She turned to Zane, voice trembling. "Is it over?" Zane surveyed the city. "It's over for now." He pulled Raven into his arms. Rain soaked their jackets. She rested her head against his chest. Sirens faded into distant echoes. Raven closed her eyes. Partial victory under stormy skies. **** dawn's pink light crept over the skyline. Raven and Zane stood on the rooftop. Rain had washed away the night's chaos. He slipped a warm blanket around her shoulders. She shivered, comforted by his warmth. Below, police secured the station entrance. Detectives carried evidence from the tunnel. Zane's phone buzzed with a text. "Dorm safe?" Raven exhaled. Relief blooming in her chest. "Lily's okay," she whispered. Zane nodded, eyes soft. "She's unharmed and out of danger." Tears filled Raven's eyes, but she smiled. He reached into his coat pocket, pulled out her sister's college acceptance letter. "Found this on Marcus's phone," he said. Raven took it, her hand trembling. Lily's scholarship remained intact. Her future was secure once more. They watched the sunrise together in silence. Birds chirped above the city's awakening. Raven thought of Marisol and Joe's diner. She longed for simple mornings again. Zane brushed damp hair from her face. "About our date," he began with a grin. Raven's lips curved in a genuine smile. "Coffee at Joe's tomorrow," she asked softly. He offered his arm, gentle and earnest. "Coffee sounds perfect," he replied. She stepped into his embrace. Her heart fluttered with cautious hope. They descended the fire escape together. City streets sparkled after the storm. Raven spotted Marisol waving from below. She waved back, relief shining in her eyes. Raven felt her world realign around warmth. Justice had prevailed, and love stirred anew. She placed her hand over Zane's. Everything felt possible once more. As they walked toward sunrise, the first birdsong echoed their new beginning. ***.